Your support matters with 90% of our viewers yet to subscribe. We need your help to keep creating engaging content. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let us know where you're watching from. Leave your city in the comments below. Claire had always considered herself a devoted wife. Married for nearly 10 years, she and her husband Daniel had built a comfortable life together. They had a beautiful home, in the suburbs, careers that kept them busy, and a daily routine that, while predictable, provided stability. But stability sometimes bred complacency. Lately, Claire had begun to feel something was missing. Something she couldn't quite put into words. Daniel had become more focused on his work, often coming home late. Exhausted and distracted, their conversations had dwindled to discussions about bills, grocery lists, and weekend plans with friends. The intimacy they once shared had become rare, and when it did happen, it felt mechanical, like a duty, rather than an expression of love. Claire tried to push the thoughts away. After all, every marriage had its ups and downs, but deep inside, she longed for something more, something that made her feel seen, desired, and alive. One rainy afternoon, a persistent leak in the kitchen sink forced Claire to call a plumber. She had been meaning to get it fixed for weeks, but with Daniel's busy schedule, it had been pushed aside. Frustrated, she decided to take matters into her own hands and searched online for a local plumber with good reviews. That's when she found Liam Carter. The website displayed a picture of a man in his early 30s wearing a fitted work uniform and a confident smile. There was something about him that immediately caught Claire's attention, though she couldn't quite explain. Why, shaking off the thought, she made the call. "Hello, Carter Plumbing. This is Liam." A deep, friendly voice answered. "Hi, I have a leak under my kitchen sink that needs fixing. Are you available today?" "Of course. I can be there in about an hour," he said. Claire hung up, feeling an unexpected flutter in her stomach. She dismissed it as nothing more than anticipation of getting the repair done when the doorbell rang. CLA opened it to find Liam standing there, toolbox in hand. He was taller than she expected, with dark brown hair slightly tousled from the rain. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing toned forearms, and his warm smile made her stomach tighten. "Mrs. Thompson?" he asked. "Yes, please." "Come in," she said, stepping aside as Liam walked past her. CLA caught a subtle scent of soap and cologne. She scolded herself for noticing. "It's right over here," she said, leading him to the kitchen. Liam crouched down, inspecting the pipes. "Looks like a worn-out seal." "Shouldn't take too long," he said, flashing her an easy smile. CLA nodded, leaning against the counter. As she watched him work, she told herself she was just being polite, but the truth was she couldn't look away. The way his muscles flexed as he tightened the pipes, the way he hummed softly while working, it was all strangely mesmerizing. "So how long have you been a plumber?" she asked, trying to make casual conversation. "Since I was 20. My dad owned a plumbing business, so I grew up around this stuff," he said. "That's impressive," Claire replied. "Not many people stick with what they learned growing up." Liam chuckled. "Yeah, but I like working with my hands. Seeing the results of my work right away is satisfying." Claire felt a nod, warmth spread through her. It had been so long since she had a conversation that wasn't about schedule, saw responsibilities. Minutes turned into an hour as Liam worked. When he finally stood up, wiping his hands on a rag, CLA felt a strange sense of disappointment that the job was done. "All fixed," he said. "No more leaks." "That's a relief," CLA said, smiling. "Thank you, Liam." He met her gaze, and for a moment, something unspoken passed between them. It was subtle, but undeniable. A flicker of curiosity, of intrigue. Anytime Liam said, "If you ever need anything else, just give me a call." Claire walked him to the door, her heart pounding for reasons she refused to acknowledge. As he stepped outside, he turned back. "Take care, Mrs. Thompson." Claire hesitated. "Please call me CLA." Liam nodded slowly. "All right, CLA, see you around." As she closed the door, CLA let out a shaky breath. She told herself it was just a harmless encounter, but deep Downchick knew something had shifted, and it was only the beginning. Claire told herself that the moment with Liam was insignificant, just a passing interaction. But in the days that followed, she couldn't stop thinking about him. His confident smile, the way he said her name, the ease of their conversation, it all lingered in her mind, longer than it should have. Daniel, as usual, was too busy to notice his late nights at work continued, and when he was home, he was either glued to his laptop or too exhausted to hold a meaningful conversation. Claire didn't resent him for it. She understood how demanding his job was, but that didn't change the growing emptiness inside her then. Almost as if the universe had sensed her turmoil, the sink started leaking again. Claire hesitated before picking up her phone. She could have called any plumber, but she didn't. Instead, she scrolled through her car. History found Liam's number and pressed dial. Claire Liam answered almost immediately. The sound of her name on his lips sent an unexpected thrill through her. "Hey, so the leak is back," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Really? I could have sworn I fixed it properly." He chuckled lightly. "Guess I owe you a free repair. I can swing by in about 30 minutes if that's okay." "That would be great," Claire said a little too quickly. She spent the next half-hour pacing the kitchen, telling herself she was being ridiculous. This was just a simple home repair, nothing more, when the doorbell rang. Her heart skipped a beat. Liam was standing there in a dark gray shirt and work pants, his toolbox in one hand, that same confident smile on his face back again. He said, "Looks like it," CLA replied, stepping aside to let him in. This time the air between them felt different, charged. As Liam got to work, CLA couldn't stop watching him. Every movement was effortless, every motion precise, unlike Daniel, who was always caught up in numbers and business reports. Liam was grounded. His work was tangible, real. "Did you miss me already?" Liam teased without looking up. Claire's breath hitched. She knew he was joking, but there was something beneath his words, something unspoken. "You wish," she shot back, trying to keep things light. But when Liam straightened up and looked at her, Heist's expression had shifted. His gaze lingered, searching hers for something. Permission. "Perhaps, Claire," he started, his voice lower. Now she should have stopped this. She should have stepped back, changed the subject, done anything other than stand there feeling the heat rise between them. But she didn't, because for the first time in a long time she felt something real. "Liam, we can't," she whispered. But there was no conviction in her voice. He took a step closer, closing the space between them. Tell me to leave, and I will," he said, softly. Claire opened her mouth, but now words came instead. She found herself drawn to him, to the way he looked at her, like she was the only thing in the world that mattered, and then the line they shouldn't have crossed disappeared entirely.